So, welcome to another Rugby Through the Leagues podcast. This week, as you can see, we are in Madrid. We are at the Spain-Uruguay game. And this week, we've got Jack Colbourne's come on. So, Jack's not played for Spain, not played for Uruguay, but he has gone and played in New Zealand. But yeah, we're on the first of three trips up and down Spain to go and watch Spain in the next 3 weeks as well. So, yeah, really looking forward to getting out, watching Spain, watching a bit of international rugby in a couple of different places. Spain, Fiji next week's going to be really good as well. So yeah, can't wait for that. But yeah, so Jack Colbourne, come on, currently playing for Guernsey. Went and did 5 years over in. Has been around a little bit for quite a young lad. He's gone and played Nat 1 for Hull and has got a really impressive CV. So he's also able to pass a bit of judgment on for lads that want to have a go. And as you can see, we've got a little back smooth running in the background from Uruguay there. So yeah, let's another great interview. Second to last episode. Let's get this one out of the way and hope you enjoy it.
This week we've gone slightly more international. So the other week we've had Sao Paulo, we've had New Zealand, and now we're on the Channel Islands with Guernsey. So Jack Colbourne's jumped on. Jack, thank you for your time, mate. Really appreciate it. For those that don't know who you are and what you've done, can you do a little intro and share the rugby journey that you've been on so far?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, mate. Appreciate it. So I started out my rugby journey down at Milton Rugby Club in the New Forest.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So grew up there, and I left at the age of 16 to jump over to an arch rival, Bournemouth. So I didn't get lynched, but and then I was only there for a year. I got picked up on the 7 circuit over in Amsterdam, which was pretty good, and then went up to Hull up north, which was a massive change, especially for an 18-year-old straight out of college. But it was, I call it character building, so it wasn't too bad. And then I got the opportunity of a lifetime to go over to New Zealand. So I was actually there for just under 5 years. It was great, mate, playing with Northland NPC, just around that squad. And yeah, so my visa ran out, had to unfortunately come back, and had a good option of Guernsey. So I'm back in the National Leagues, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah.
Nice. So obviously Guernsey are National League 2
National
East.
2 East, yeah.
So same league as sort of Havant and stuff like that as well. So
same one, yeah.
Decent league to be in as well, by the looks of it. Looks like it's going to be a really competitive league. Tom Bridge is sort of having a little bit of a run away. You guys got pipped at the post by
them. I think it was like 85th minute, mate. So I think it's still going to be a bit of a bitter taste on that one, but it's given us some drive going forward. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. So the season ahead, then you've obviously got a difficult, but what looks like a really good league to be in. What's the difference? Obviously, coming back from New Zealand, obviously Hull Ionians are in. They were in that one when you were
there. So yeah, we were in that one when I was there, and then the year I went, we got relegated. So they've been in that 2 for a while.
Yeah.
And I know they stayed up last year, so they're building something up there as well. I could try and keep tabs on what's going on. So So to be fair, mate, the league in that 2 here, it's really competitive. I think there's about 4 or 5 teams that could easily go up.
Yeah,
us being one of them. Like I said, we went into pre-season this year, won in a top 6 aim, and that was what was sold to me and a few of the boys that came over. And I think we've not only exceeded, obviously, the coaches and the club's expectations, but we're pushing ourselves to really, drive on. And I think we had a result on the weekend that we won. We got 5 points away from home, which is good, but we reflected and we weren't actually too happy with that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like we were happy with the win, but we definitely feel like we could have performed 20-30% more of what we could do. So yeah, it's exciting. It's good.
Yeah, because I used to play for Gosport back in the day, and they recently had your twos over, and I played against your twos in my last run out for Gosport, funnily enough. So I actually, season before I headed to Spain, I had a little run out, and they go, "Oh, Guernsey are coming over." I was like, okay. So I thought I was going to get 5-minute run out, and that would be that, and that 5 minutes turned into 70 odd minutes, and you guys.
Well, that's always the case, mate.
It's always the way. And you guys have been running some cricket scores against other teams. I thought, right, this is going to be a proper shift. But no, we put up a good effort. I got a little pork pie as well for me final game of the Gosport top. So I know a few lads love the run ashore as well over Guernsey. It's actually one of them that we're potentially eyeing up for the pod as well. So we're doing
nice.
So we're doing a grassroots rugby again. So I've got a couple of the lads jumping on. So I did a few bits in the summer with Petersfield and stuff like that. And we're potentially eyeing up the double header because you guys have got, I believe, in your game, and then Gosport 2s are over there playing your 2s, or Gosport 1s are over there as well. So yeah, it's something that we've got an eye on for the pod to come and do a double header. So I haven't done the run ashore at Guernsey yet, but it's supposed to be a bit of a trip. How is the travel? Is that something you guys have got to factor in with your training, etc. as well?
It's okay. It's challenging because we normally get the red eye. So we've done, I think it's 3 away trips now, and 2 of them have been at the airport for 6 a.m. So yeah, I think looking at previous years, from what I've been told, that we've notoriously just struggled to adapt. Just because you're up at 5:05 at the airport, you're flying at 7. You've got maybe an hour or 2 wait in the airport, and then an hour or 2 on the coach, which is quite hard to get your head in the game. But it's a long day, especially when there's a few beers after you win as well. You're pretty tired on the flight back. So.
You don't mind the way back. It's the getting there and then not being able to put that. So does your sort of the coaching outfit, have they got a bit of a plan of, obviously they must have done it for a little while, so they know the ways to probably navigate around that travel. When do you sort of train during the week? Is it Tuesday, Thursday like everyone else, or do you have they adapted that to make sure that you get an extra rest day in between, or?
No, so it's just Tuesday, Thursday each week, but we try and do our trainings within an hour span. So we've got it detailed. It goes out on the page, like we have a little group page. It goes out on a Monday and then a Wednesday of what's going to happen in training. We know we can prepare. We normally do a club review as well of the game just gone on the Tuesday. So again, it's a bit of a breakup, and it works quite well. We prepare. It's probably one of the best clubs I've been at where we prepare and actually study what we're going to do, and we go and execute it, which is what you want, you know.
Yeah, spot on. So obviously they sound like they've pretty much got that nailed away. Obviously they've had the big target of Jersey as well, trying to sort of break that barrier down. You guys are sort of getting on top a little bit recently as well, which I'm sure that probably makes everything a little bit easier. But they're making big strides. I know obviously Jersey Reds have gone bust, and a few of those lads have now appeared in the Jersey setup. So how does that, obviously with that being a local sort of game and stuff, have you guys sort of keep an eye on where they're at, or is that literally just we'll deal with that when it comes?
I think obviously we always, because it is Jersey, we always have an eye out because we have our Siam Cup at the end of the year every single year. So, and again, from what I've been told, it is huge. So I think there's about 4,000 to 5,000 people that turn up, which is exciting to be. You know, it's one of those things where you get sold on coming over to one of these teams, and you just think, right, okay, end of the year, let's get stuck in. So we keep a tabs on it, but it's not something we need to worry about. You know, no. I think if we've got the ability within ourselves to just beat anyone that comes in front of us, and that's just no different, and it just makes it even better that it's on a bigger stage. So yeah.
Do you know, is that like a home and away, or whoever wins the Siam Cup, do they get to host it the next year? Or how's that sort of figured out?
I think it changes every year. So last year it was in Guernsey. This year coming up is in Guernsey. Yeah.
So how long's the journey across? I know obviously you've only just got there, but what's the sort of journey from Jersey to Guernsey? Is it a rowing boat, or is it?
To be fair, it's not far on the ferry. I've not done it, so I think it's maybe an hour tops. Okay. And then the flight, it's literally 20 minutes, not even that.
I was going to say it's up, it's down. It's probably
it's really not far, because to the UK on a ferry it's 2.5 hours, and then it's a 45 to an hour flight to Gatwick. So again, not too bad.
No, not too bad. So what's the difference that you found from playing Nat 1 to then going New Zealand NPC to then coming back to sort of Nat 2 level. What's the takeaways that you found from the differences of going, as you said, character building in the north of England to New Zealand to a remote island in the middle of the Channel Islands with a really big expectation on your back as well, I think, because Guernsey and Jersey set really big standards to how they want to play rugby, which is brilliant. And there's probably a bigger target on you guys because you guys expect so much more. Is that a fair cop?
Yeah, I think obviously from Nat 1, obviously I was there very young, so I was my head coach for the first couple of years was Alex Crockett. I know that name hasn't been rung around for a while, but he was very good for me as a centre/winger, just to learn and to feed me in. And I'm always very grateful because I look back now, and as an 18, 19, 20-year-old, you're not getting very much game time at that high level, especially when you've got established players. So I was very frustrated around that time. But he nurtured and made sure I bid my time, and when the time came, I definitely took it, which was
brilliant.
And with Nat 1, it's just so physical.
Yeah,
it's so physical. Everyone wants to hit you. The forwards are about, I don't know, 5 inches bigger, about five kilos heavier. Same as the backs, but they've all got quality and they're quick.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's a bit of a jump. And then going over to New Zealand, it's not as tactical. So they want to play. They want to throw the ball around. They're quick. They're strong. You get a lot of the Islander boys over there. So they get a lot of Fiji and Samoan, which is, hey, and some of the best players I've played with are Fijian and Samoan. They're ridiculously good. But they just back their skills. So again, I was very fortunate to have a coach called Eric Rush. So he was Sevens legend, All Blacks legend. And, you know, it was learning off him every day when you're training is just, you can't buy that experience. So
no, I can imagine.
Yeah, and because again, I was 22, turning 23. They, as an Englishman going over to NZ, they want to stick it on you quite a lot. Just because you're a pom, which is great.
Yeah.
And you know, it's you either sink or swim, and only meant to be there for 6 months. I stayed there for 4 years, so I think I did all right.
Spot on.
Yeah, I get. You're training with the likes of Rene Ranger. You're training with Sam Knock, who's a Super Rugby player. You know, the Rush brothers. It was definitely an experience. And coming back to Nat 2, it's made me more physical, more dominant. I've matured quite a lot. So just within myself and my rugby game. So I know my worth coming back in over here. So just use that to my advantage, and it's worked out quite well. So yeah, I can't complain.
So how did that ever come about? Did you get a call, or did you put it on Facebook and say, I'm moving to New Zealand, is there anywhere I can come play rugby, basically? Or how did it work out?
Yeah, so I got a phone call maybe 3-4 in the morning because of the time difference. I was quite fortunate because I was playing sevens on the circuit at the time. And my sevens coach was like, hey, there's an opportunity in New Zealand. Like, does anyone want it? And I was like, yeah, why not? I'm young. Doesn't happen often. Let's give it a go. Didn't really expect to hear much from it. And then, got the phone call at maybe 3-4 in the morning. And it was David Holwell, who was a Hurricanes and Northland legend. So he was part of the club, and he basically sold me on coming over. So just saying the heritage of the club, what they want to achieve, what we're bringing in. And you sort of look at it as a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're not going to say no. So I think it was within 1 or 2 weeks of going back and forward, I was done.
Sold.
Booked flights, gone. See you later. Yeah. So it was. I can't even say it was complicated because it really wasn't. So it was that easy.
That's amazing. So for players that are thinking about it and are of that level, is it a case of just go and do it and go and experience rugby elsewhere? And then you, as you said, you've come back, you've slotted in, you probably understand the game better as well, rather than sort of doing the hard yards on and off the bench. Kids like that just go and get it done and go and experience the rest of the world. Has it made you as a better person as well? Do you think you've become more cultured because you've gone and actually been able to go and do something else somewhere else? got yourself
for
cut all
sure.
the ties and gone.
Yeah, it definitely opened up my eyes to quite a lot of things. You again, you're away from your family and your friends, so you have to do everything all over again, which is you can either sink or swim. So if you're an adventurous person, do it. If you're confident, do it. If you want to travel around and then play a little bit of footy, still do it. I'll always recommend it. And then for rugby aspect, it just improves your game. It makes you realise how, I don't know if you've heard it, like how behind we are in our development. As you know, when you're kids and we're playing at like 7 or 8, throwing the ball around, learn how to pass it. Over in NZ in Australia, they're learning how to do that at 4 or 5, and they're throwing like 20, 30 metre passes. So you're sort of looking at it going, you can see why they are like were two of the best teams in the world. Yeah. So always recommend it. It's brilliant. It's great.
Far too structured within the English game. There's more worried about the stages of the game rather than just say, right, let's go and play, and then play what's in front of us. That's that. So I coach over here as well in Spain. So I coach under 16s, nice. And it's a case of, lads, like a lot of your skill sets, and you're never going to get to that level. And if we keep doing structure, there's certain levels of interest that they lose. So it's a case of, let's just play what's in front of us. We can only beat what's put in front of us. And if you boys can keep the ball active, you're constantly putting them on the back foot, and just play in front and just have fun, because the game doesn't last forever. Like
exactly.
And I think there is such an importance put upon structure within the English game, which is quite boring. I love like that New Zealand way of sling it out the back door, the Fijian way. Let's just play the game that's in front and just have fun. Do you think you've been able to bring that back and follow that sort of ethos within Guernsey, or have you had to sort of fall back into a bit of structure?
I think, to be fair, give Guernsey credit, and they love to throw the ball around anyway. Yeah, so we do have an exit strategy, which every team does, but we love to play, and our back line is pretty exciting. So whenever we get into shape, we just want to play. We want to throw it around. We want to stretch it wide, be direct. But I think the only difference, and this is every team, to be fair, we box kick a lot more.
Okay.
But it's a lot more, again, as a winger and a back three, you constantly find yourself chasing kicks. Over in NZ, they maybe box kick, 2-3 times a game.
Yeah.
It's not really that often, but obviously over here, we box kick maybe 5-6 times because it's a territory battle more than anything.
Yeah.
Which is where the difference comes in. So, of heads up rugby, effectively. But that's just how we're taught, aren't we? That's how we do it. Which, again, isn't a problem. It works for us. You see in the World Cup just gone, we got to a semi-final doing that, which is, hey, can't knock it, but it just happens. So
yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? The game's adapted so many times. It's got to work in certain parts. So, but I can imagine. So the lads that you've got over there, have you got many that are most of them island lads, like Guernsey lads, or have you got other lads that have sort of had the phone call, come back and had the opportunity to go and sort of plough their trade over in Guernsey? And
it's a mixture. I think there's definitely a few that have grown up through the ranks, or they've gone to uni and then come back, which has bettered them, because uni rugby over here is at a good standard.
Yeah.
But yeah, a few of the boys have been pulled over. It's basically straight out of uni. If you can get out of uni for a club, then you're quite set then. So I think that's what most of the boys have done. So
nice. So when the Guernsey call come in, was there other options on the table? What sort of sold you to go to Guernsey? Because as we've discussed, it's quite a remote island, and it's a slightly different change of pace. Probably perfect to come back from New Zealand to not be straight in the mix of the hustle and bustle. But were there other opportunities? And literally, what they've sort of put on the table for you is, we want to go here, and that sort of process is actually going to happen, do you think?
I had a few opportunities on the table, which was quite flattering. To be fair, I actually approached Guernsey myself.
Nice.
Because I went to college with someone who lived in the Guernsey Island. She kept on on about you should come over. Whenever you come back, you need to come here. Like, you don't get a jersey, you should do this. I was like, right, okay, fine. So I got given the email address, flicked an email over, and then, to be fair, it was very short and sharp. It was great.
Yeah.
This is what we want to do. This is where we're heading as a team. I'd already seen they'd signed someone from the champ, so I knew where the ambitions were going to lie.
Yeah.
And why not? I'm closer. I'm close to family, close enough anyway for them to come over and me going back. So I thought it was just a perfect fit at a perfect time.
So your family's still sort of Dorset, Bournemouth way, are they? Is that where?
All in Christchurch, mate. Same as
nice.
So it's quite nice to go back and visit because it's been a while, so it's good.
How did they take you moving across the world to go and play rugby? Did they come and visit much? Was obviously that must have been right in the middle of COVID as well, so that must have been a real hand grenade on your family relationship there, to be fair.
It was the start of COVID, so I literally flew through America as it was going through China. So I turned up to New Zealand, I think it was 8 weeks in, it was then a lockdown.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was quite lucky. And then, no one came to visit. I think they tried a few times, COVID restrictions from the UK side, and then obviously cancellation with flights. It can't be helped. But I went back and visited, I think after 2.5 years, which was great. And everything just felt smaller. But then obviously I changed quite a lot, which is fine. And then, like I said, me coming home, they were gutted about it because I'd set up a life. I owned a gym over in NZ, which was going well.
Oh, nice.
And I had to give it all away, but secretly they were very excited because I'm only 2 hours away, and I'm not 24 hours. So I think they'll take it.
So with that, when you were over there, there was really strict on COVID restrictions and everything like that, weren't they? That was obviously pretty much locked down. As soon as somebody sneezed, it was like that. It was literally like a scene from, was it Monsters Inc., where they just chuck it. It was pretty much like that, wasn't it? So, were you able to play rugby apart from obviously when that was there, or that must have been a really hard adaptation to going from expecting to be able to play constantly, a whole new life, a whole new sort of trying to make friends, to literally a lockdown situation. How did that affect you in that way to start with as well? Because being young, you want to get out there, you get on the piss, meet loads of people, etc. So then, hold on a minute, you can't even go and say hello to someone in case you catch this virus. That must have been completely blew your mind.
Yeah, it was. To be fair, again, I was quite lucky. I got put with our coach and his family. So again, I was around people the whole time. Mm-hmm. I had a guy in our team as well living there, so we got on like a house on fire. We were working out every day, going for runs. So, we made it work. And then probably 6 weeks before that, we were training twice a week. Had already played a few preseason games, so I think it was a week or so before our actual season was going to start, because they start in end of March, April time. Yeah. So it's a little bit delayed. Yeah. So but then after those 8 weeks, we got a full season in.
Oh wow.
So, again, it wasn't really, obviously there was massive restrictions there. There was no after matches. We had to put food separate. It was different, but again, I loved it. It was just an opportunity to play, and then we actually made the final that year. So we lost in the last minute of extra time. So that will always be a memory. That like a COVID season, but it was still a season. So I can't really complain too much. So
maybe you're the jinx, Jack, because that happened the other week as well. Maybe you seem last minute situations, Jack. Wherever you're around, it looks like the coach is going to have to start subbing you before it gets to the end.
You say that. You say that. I scored an 83-minute winner the other week as well. So
happy days.
I mean, I redeemed it. I've redeemed it. So
Brilliant. So obviously that was the first sort of 2.5 years were really restricted. And then you said you're out there for 5, correct?
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. So the other 2.5 years, the other side of it for an Englishman going over to play in New Zealand, what's the difference in that? As you said, like
got of the food afterwards, the traditions, and is it the same, or have they got a whole completely different way again? Because over here in Spain, it's a completely different situation again to what it is in England, and it really interests me to find out what differs, because there's similar traditions within rugby, but there's ways of delivering it across each country. And how did that differ when you finally managed to get out the other side of the COVID bubble?
Yeah, so to be fair, it's not. I don't think it's that different. They like to, so their Prem rugby over there, which is their top grade. The subs bench actually plays 2 games, so that's a little bit different. So if you have a reserve, so your B team play, so they play the same team that you're playing, just a reserves team, and then they'll play a half, so they get minutes in, and they'll come and up on the bench for us. That was a little bit of an eye opener, but it keeps people interested and keeps people moving, so that's good. After the game, you have your speeches, but they wait a little while, so they do a forward of the match, back of the match. You obviously got a necky pint. You can't do a buffalo, which is standard. But the main difference is they pretty much bless their food every single time. So it's very spiritual over there. It's they're very, very respectful people. Very respectful. Again, you've got to buy into that straight away. If you don't, then you've basically got a black mark on your head. Wow. And then the food over there is just it's most of the time it's always fresh. So. Especially in the North Island, at the top of the North Island where I was, it's a lot of seafood. So if you don't like seafood, you're probably going to struggle. But it's just they're just so friendly. Everyone's just really lovely. They just want to sit there, have a talk with you. They're very, very welcoming. All their families, they welcome you in. And even I think the nicest thing about it, when you're moving over there, all the boys have got kids and they've got little families. They're your uncle to everyone. So it's Uncle Jack, Uncle Jack, and it's just it makes you feel like it's a home away from home. So I'll always be grateful for that. So it's definitely great.
Qualities. So what's the sort of the next ambition then, Jack? Obviously, I know you're with Guernsey. Have you got sites that you want to go somewhere else around the world to play the game, or is this kind of where you're at and you might end up finishing your career back at New Milton or something like that? Have you got one site on the next step, or is it a case of I want to go as far as I physically can with Guernsey, and this is where I am for a little while now?
I think for now, Guernsey have definitely we've got high aspirations, and that's what we want. I think if we need to break through that next mold, that next bubble, which the club has been struggling with since they've been in Nat 2. But I think this is probably the first time we've got a very, very strong enough squad to compete, which is exciting. So if we can get promoted and we can push on from there, that's great. No, that's probably the goal right now. I do have one eye on coaching at some point.
Oh wow!
I would love to do some player coaching. So even if that is to go back to New Milton and actually play, because I never played a senior game.
Oh really?
So I played a senior game for the first team. So if I could ever go back and be a player coach at that level and put the input in and show the appreciation they showed me as a kid, I would I think I want to get to at least 30, 31 at the level, and then once the body starts to break down a little bit more, I'll jump back over. So we'll see.
What is the target that Guernsey have set? I know that some don't like to say it out loud, but they've obviously got big aspirations. Jersey obviously made the sort of the championship level and stuff, and Web Pop. Obviously, as a club, they probably don't want to be in that sort of financial disarray, and they've got to manage it sensibly. What is the target? Is that the champ, or have they got bigger aspirations past?
No, I think, like I said, for now, we sort of go off what we've been told this year. So top 6 was the aim. That's changed after the first 2 weeks. We want to go top 3, top 2.
Nice.
And we just want to compete. We want to be at a level where we compete week in, week out. And like I said, if that is promotion, then we'll take it and we'll go from there and we'll rebuild again, and then we'll see what we can do. But I think it's pretty hard to go past this year and what we're doing. So that's probably all I can say on that, actually. So
no, that's fair enough. So obviously, the big aspiration for yourself is probably what sort of targeting Nat 1 again and having a proper punt at that, because you left it quite early on to go to New Zealand. Is Is that where you see yourself? Is that sort of your level and aspiration to get back towards?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I did love that one. I absolutely loved it. I love the physical side of it. I'm 104.5 kilos as a winger, so it suits me quite well. So yeah, like if the opportunity ever came about again, I'd probably take it with two hands. So you never know what the future is going to bring, but I think to always strive to be better and play with the best possible players you can play with.
Yeah.
You're not going to say no. So yeah, if that opportunity came about, then that's sweet.
So leading on to that, to what you just said there, who is the best player you ever got to play with? Putting your flag on it now, mate. Here we go.
Yeah. There's a few good mates in there as well, so I'll think about it. I'll give you a handful. I'll give you a few. So mainly over in NZ, I was very, very fortunate to play with some just top quality players. Our captain is called Jordan Olsen. He was a Canadian international.
Oh wow!
And he was just ridiculous. Best darts I've ever seen on a hooker.
Really?
Would run for a full 80 minutes. Just ridiculously strong. Really, just powerful. Really good.
Yeah.
I've got the Rush brothers, Eric Rush's sons. So Rob, who plays for the Blues.
Yeah.
Absolute freak of a man. Just built in stature, ridiculous. He's a bit of a they're all a bit psycho, really, but they're they're great players. Let's just take after their dad, like ridiculously. Nice. And then Brady, who went over and did All Black 7, so he just competed in the Olympics.
Nice.
Again, naturally gifted, quick, good hands on the ball, and then just work ethic just takes both of them to a new level. So I'd probably say those three are the top ones. And I've played against some internationals there, Tongan, Fijian, and it's just those extra steps that you don't realize that you need to take, but they're already way ahead. So but I think up in Hull there was a player called Lewis Minikin. He's still playing for them right now. We actually nicknamed him God. He was just gifted. Everything he touched just turned to gold. So we just called him God. So yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. So I can't. Yeah, I don't want to leave anyone else out, but just off the top of my head, that would do.
Nice. So who have you had the opportunity to play with that should have gone on but didn't quite make the heights that their ability should have sort of got them to?
Yeah. I'm trying to think now. Going back to my whole days, there's a lock he's called Joe Macon. He's the captain. He's been there for so long. Ridiculous. He's just, for a lock, his handling ability, his speed, his work rate. He probably should have played champ. Maybe a couple of Prem Cup games. He was up there at a high standard. And then there was a winger called Sam Wilson as well. It's the same up in Hull.
Yeah.
Quickest winger I've ever played with. Really nice guy. And he probably should have played a couple of champ games as well, but he had a few knee injuries that sort of kept him back. So again, those sorts of players, very high quality to have in your squad. Probably should have done more, didn't. But I don't think that's because they actually wanted to. I think they just were quite happy in the environment that they were in. So fair enough.
Got to that bit and was able to do the best for Hull rather than having to worry about a bit of a
like I said, they've been at the club for 10 years plus. I think Sam's just retired this year, so top try scorer for the club's history, and then Joe went on to play England counties and captain England counties. So you sort of look at it and you go, well, fair enough, and you can only respect it,
Yeah, that's quality. With this season, then, what's your opinion of the league? And I know you guys have set a target. Who do you think's your biggest challenge? Obviously, you've played a few of the top teams around you, and obviously you've had a few away days. So you're probably hoping that the home advantage towards the end of the season will work in your favour. Who's the one in that league or the few in the league that you think are going to really run you close?
I think, TJs have already beaten us, which left a very sour taste in our mouth because I think we should have won that game.
Yeah.
Barnes, we just played them and I scored the winner, which I'm not going to forget. They're a very well drilled team and they'll be up close as well. and then you've got Dorking, who are on their tails as well, which we've got, who we've got in a few weeks. So
okay,
I think there's about 3 or 4 teams that could do anyone, but I think we've always said on our day, if we play how we want to play our structures, we're unplayable. So
nice.
It's just that level of confidence we bring in, which is good.
Looks like there's a couple of teams that sort of drifted away at the bottom as well. Is it Sevenoaks and
you've got Sevenoaks, Oxford, Colchester, but to be fair, those two of those teams have just come up this year. It's always an adjustment. It's always so they could hit their straps after Christmas after adapting a little bit. So you never know what's going to happen, do you? So.
No, it's it. I think Havant have obviously put a bit of a flag in the ground. They seem to have sort of taken a little bit better to it, as you said, but it's a long season, and obviously if you've got some long journeys in there as well to throw in the mix, that must affect a lot of the teams, because even going to Canterbury is a long old day trip as it is, even if you're on the mainland, let alone coming from you guys as well. Is there many days that you have to sort of, they say, right, actually we're going to stay away the Friday night, we're going to do the journey the day before, or is it all on a Saturday and you've all just got to adapt and figure that out as you get there?
I think they did one last year. I can't remember who they played, but they're not in the league anymore. I cannot. Right. That was a niggly one. That was Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
We did Havant. To be fair, we've already played Havant away. That was a big day, but we ended up doing a social down in Brighton afterwards, which was
nice.
Fun. I think we're staying over again against Bury. Maybe I'm not too sure, but there's.
Oh, okay.
I think we'll always travel on the Saturday.
Yeah.
But it depends on obviously flight and ticket allocations as well. If some of us has to stay over for the Sunday morning, like you just don't know. But 9 times out of 10, you're coming back on the Saturday. So
fair enough. That must be it. What is the run ashore like? Obviously, you guys on the piss in Guernsey is probably a fairly common situation, but it seems to catch a lot of Premiership players out. They seem to end up with a rap sheet. Is it that sort of a situation, or is it people just seem to let loose and think it's abroad? They're not worried about themselves. How's that? How do so many people get caught out?
I think from what I've been told and from recent stories, which I definitely can't disclose, I think a lot of people just let loose, and then the police over here are actually quite strict, especially when you're out drinking, because they were always patrolling. So you've got to sort of be on your best behaviour, or make sure you know someone that can keep you out of trouble, effectively. So
nice. That must be. So what's? I've never actually made it over to Guernsey yet. So what's the ground set up, and how is that? Have they got big plans for that, or is it pretty much at a capacity, ready to go up through the leagues as well? Is it ready and set, and the stability of the club's there, ready for any progression naturally upwards?
Yeah, I think we're quite fortunate. So you go into the ground, you've got the big athletic track around the pitch.
Okay.
I would honestly say it's just probably one of the nicest pitches I've ever played on.
Really?
Barring a 4G, but it's very, very well maintained because we have the football team play on there as well.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a carpet. It's brilliant.
Wow.
The pitch is just amazing for what you want. We have a gym on site there as well, so we can use it as players, which is awesome. Yeah. The stand, I don't actually know how much it holds, but the seats have just been redone, I think, as well.
Oh, nice.
So it's all, the bar's been redone, so it's all up to a very good standard. The change rooms aren't small, they're not bleak, they're not horrible. Mm-hmm. It's a very well run and looked after club, it makes playing there a lot easier. You don't want to turn up to you don't want to turn up to a team you want to play for and it's just dingy and horrible. It doesn't exactly get you. So
not when you've got aspirations to go as high as possible. That's the thing. Like they've got to set it up, and I think that's what Havant have also done recently as well. To be fair to them, they've made some big strides and changes, and that 4G pitch made a massive difference for Havant. Did you ever play Havant? But when you sort of knew Milton, did you ever have to go out there as a kid? And the old Lee Park Gardens, as it probably is effectively known as.
Yeah, well, it was definitely, because I remember that game. It was great because it's like I said, closest I've been to playing at home in 10 years. Yeah. And it was nice because my mum turned up and it was good because my mum used to be my coach. Yeah. So we used to go every Sunday and play, or it was just it was nice. It was nice memories. So it was good. Definitely way nicer to play on it. And I'd never actually won there until this. So it was nice to actually win there and shut the supporters up because they were giving me a bit of stick on the sideline. So that's all good.
Yeah, they're good. They're good for that, to be fair. But Jack, it's been an absolute pleasure to get you on. I know you've jumped on your lunch break, mate.
I know what, mate, that's fine.
It's been quality. Hopefully, I can actually get over. I'm trying to get the sign off from the missus, see if I can get away for a weekend and come and join you on Guernsey, mate, for the double header in January. So, for just one last thing from you, Jack, for anyone that's thinking about doing the same as what you've done, how did you go about it? Is it a case of just make as many contacts as possible, or just ask the question? Just go and say, right, I want to go and do this, and see who can help open that door?
To be fair, I'll always say I've always been very, very fortunate with the coaches and the people I've had around me. So, it goes back to being on the 7th Circuit, meeting Alex Crockett, and then the next coach I had after that was Mike Umunga, Tanu Umunga's brother, up in Hull as well. And you go over to NZ, and then you're training and playing with Eric Rush, which is great. Then I think it's a case of never be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Always is out there, and the worst thing they can say is no.
Yeah.
There's no issue with that. And if you are good enough and you've got the highlights to back it up and support what you're saying, there's no reason why they should say no. So it's experiences that I'll always treasure and always tell people to go and do. So you've got to do it. So
yeah, quality. Jack, thank you for your time, mate. Really appreciate it, and hopefully we actually get to meet in person when the double header happens.
We'll take you down to the Swan and Follies, mate. I'm sure the boys will get ripped into you. So
no worries about that. I'm sure I can have a little drink with you guys as well.
Awesome.
Top man. Cheers, Jack. Really appreciate it, mate. Cheers.
No worries.
That brings another episode of Rugby Through the Leagues podcast to an end. This week we had Jack Colbourne on, and another great guest. Been about a bit, played in New Zealand, and able to pass on some experience for people that want to be able to travel around. It is now confirmed also I've got my tickets to go to the Guernsey double header, so we'll be able to see Jack on the pod again, hopefully in January. So can't wait to get over there and do that. But now it's time to get on to the Uruguay-Spain game. So I'll give you a bit of a feedback on that as we go. And then, last episode will be coming out next week. Still unsure what we're going to do, but I think we might do a final review of what we've done so far and reiterate all the plans and where we're going and what we're doing. So thank you for everyone for joining, and keep sharing, keep liking, keep commenting, let's grow the pod, and thank you and goodbye.